All right, today we're going on a little trip. We're heading to the lush green heart of northwest Portugal, to the Minho region, to really get to know one of its most famous and maybe most misunderstood wines, Vinho Verde.
This quote just nails it right from the start. It's telling us that this isn't just some refreshing drink we're talking about, it's living testimony. That means every single bottle is packed with history, a story about people and the land that goes back centuries. It's one of the deepest winemaking traditions in all of Portugal. But before we get any further, we have to tackle the big question, the one that causes all the confusion. When someone says Vinho Verde, which, literally translates to green wine, what are they actually talking about? Is the wine green?
Okay, let's dive right in and bust one of the biggest myths in the wine world. Because that name, it's kind of brilliant, but it's also a little misleading. So here it is, the big reveal. Verde doesn't mean green like the color, it means young. This wine is all about freshness. It's meant to be popped open and enjoyed super fresh, usually just a few months after the grapes are picked. And because it's about youth, not color, you can find Vinho Verde as a crisp white, a fruity rosé, or, and get this, even a deep, intense red.
So what does it taste like? Well, it's basically the definition of refreshing. It all starts with this zippy, vibrant acidity that just makes your mouth water. Think fresh squeezed lime and crisp green apples. Then you've got the light body and low alcohol, which makes it incredibly easy to drink. And the secret weapon? That little bit of fizz, a subtle effervescence that just makes all those flavors dance and feel alive in your glass.
Okay, so if Verde means young, what actually gives the wine its unique personality? To figure that out, we've got to meet the local celebrities, the amazing native grapes of the Minho region. And look at this lineup. This region is an absolute treasure trove of local grape varieties you won't find anywhere else. For the whites, Alvarinho and Loureiro are the undisputed heavy hitters, and we'll talk more about them in a sec. And on the red side, Vinho is the powerhouse, responsible for those surprisingly deep, dark red Vinho Verdes. So let's start with the absolute queen of the region, Alvarinho. Now this grape is a world away from just a simple, easy-drinking wine. It's complex. You get these intense aromas of grapefruit and maybe some passion fruit, but then it's grounded by this incredible minerality, like the smell of a wet stone after it rains. And here's the kicker. Unlike most Vinho Verde, a really good Alvarinho can actually age for years, developing these amazing, rich, honeyed flavors.
And then you have Loureiro. If Alvarinho is all about complexity and structure, Loureiro is just a pure explosion of aromatics. Seriously, imagine the scent of an orange grove in full bloom, with a little hint of bay leaf. It's just all about these beautiful floral and citrus notes that are so refreshing.
Of course, these amazing grapes can't do it all on their own. To really truly understand Vinho Verde, we need to talk about its home, its terroir. And for the Minho region, that story starts and ends with the Atlantic Ocean. I love this way of putting it. The Atlantic really is like a giant natural air conditioner for all the vineyards. You see, those cool, damp winds blowing in from the ocean are absolutely essential. They keep the summers mild, so the grapes don't get too ripe too fast. And that's what locks in that signature, super high acidity and freshness that Vinho Verde is famous for.
And then there's what's underfoot. The soil is the wine's backbone. The whole region is basically sitting on this huge bed of granite. Now, granite doesn't hold on to water or nutrients very well, which sounds bad, but it's actually great. It makes the vines struggle and work harder. And that struggle produces grapes with super concentrated flavor and that distinct, steely minerality.
So when you put it all together, that ocean breeze, the granite soil, you get this incredible mosaic of 9 different subregions, each with its own little personality. For instance, if you go way up north to Monção and Malgaço, you're in the kingdom of Alvarinho. That's its home turf. But head a little south to the Lima Valley, and boom, you're in the heartland of aromatic Loureiro. Every little spot has its own unique take on Vinho Verde. So we've talked about the place, but what about the people? The story of Minho has been shaped just as much by centuries of human hands and traditions. This has created a wine culture that's honestly like nowhere else on Earth. I mean, just look at this timeline. The history here is incredibly deep. We're talking winemaking that goes all the way back to the Roman era. Then, during the Middle Ages, it was actually the monasteries that kept the knowledge alive. A massive moment was 1908, when the region was officially recognized and protected. And that whole long journey brings us to today, where you see this fascinating mix of ancient practices and cutting-edge innovation.
And this is a perfect example of that mix. Traditionally, you'd see vines trained way up high on these pergolas, a system called infracato. It was genius, really. It let farmers grow other stuff like vegetables underneath, and it lifted the grapes up away from the damp ground to prevent disease. You still see these beautiful old pergolas today, but a lot of winemakers now use modern trellises, or espaldeta, which give the grapes better sunlight and make everything a bit easier to manage.
All right, so with this incredible history and one-of-a-kind terroir, what does the future actually look like for Vinho Verde? Let's take a look at what's coming down the road.
Well, one of its biggest strengths is how ridiculously good it is with food. I mean, that high acidity we talked about, it basically acts like a squeeze of fresh lemon on anything you're eating. It's perfect for cutting through the richness of fresh seafood like oysters or grilled sardines. It cleanses your palate, gets you ready for the next bite. It's a dream come true for everything from classic Portuguese dishes to just a simple salad or some goat cheese.
But it's not all smooth sailing. That same damp climate that gives the wine its freshness also makes things like fungal diseases a constant battle. And of course, climate change is a huge concern for everyone. But on the flip side, there are these massive opportunities. Wine tourism is exploding. People are flocking to the region. And there's a huge push for more sustainable farming and constant innovation to keep making these unique wines even better.
And that really brings us to the central question for a place like Minho. For a region so defined by its history, its ancient grapes, its old traditions, progress isn't about throwing the past away. It's about finding that perfect balance, right? It's about using everything we know today to let those ancient traditions shine even brighter and to protect the very soul of what makes this wine so incredibly special.